All right, we're live. Welcome you guys to the first Mighty Roundtable. I'm joined here by Shannon, Robnett, and Courtney Moeller, and I'm super excited and honored to be able to kind of this very first episode. And so I just want to turn it over to Shannon, the expert here, the blockchain guy, to introduce our lovely guest.
Well, hey, thanks, Mike. You know, the funny thing is we were sitting around talking around about this after our last interview, just about what kind of topics could we really knock down. And one of the first things that I thought about was this whole world of digital securities and how tokenization is kind of taken over. Everybody's talking about blockchain. And so I thought, man, what a great way to start off our first one by inviting my friend, Courtney Moeller, who I've known for quite a while, and we have gotten a lot done in the world of blockchain. But what she really is an expert. I mean, really, honestly, when you start talking about who she knows and you start getting her to tell you what she's up to in the blockchain world, in the crypto world, it is pretty amazing what she's got cooking. And, you know, from everything from tokenizing real estate to launching blockchain or to launching Bitcoin mines and all this kind of stuff that she's doing. And so when I was able to snag her to get her to come on our first roundtable, dude, I was pretty stoked. So without further ado, Courtney, welcome.
Man, boy, I feel like I've already got some big boots to fill.
You're already filling them.
This is great. I've always loved having the opportunity to come on and talk about crypto and real estate.
You know, Courtney, you've been involved in a lot of crypto masterminds and all that kind of stuff. And give us a little bit of background about how long you've been involved in crypto and what kind of growth you've experienced with your personal portfolio.
Oh gosh. So, I actually have only been involved for a couple of years. I always have that little bit of jealousy for the people that are like, yeah, I bought Bitcoin 8 years ago. And I'm thinking, man, I wish I had been involved 8 years ago, but it's been 2 years. And, I call Bitcoin the gateway crypto because everybody comes for the Bitcoin, but then you kind of dive in and start looking around at all the other projects and everything else that's going on. And it's really cool stuff, between the metaverse and NFTs and, just so many different things, real estate tokenization. And so, I thought, okay, we started off buying Bitcoin and then we started looking around at all the other projects and really started investing into a lot of other things. And gosh, I think I 10x'd my portfolio pretty quickly. So, which, I've turned around and taken that and gone into some real estate and apartments and some other things. But, now we're going even deeper and doing the tokenization of real estate and Bitcoin mining funds and all kinds of really exciting things. So it's pretty cool. The further I get in, but it's hard to keep up. There's so much coming out and so much emerging and so many different companies doing so many different things in all the different spaces that you've really got to have the time to sit and really kind of keep up with what's happening. It kind of reminds me of like the .com era when you had all of these companies come out when the internet came out. So now we've got, crypto's accepted. Now we've got, thousands and thousands of tokens and projects that are launching. So you kind of have to weed your way through and, figure out which are the good projects and what's worth hanging on to and who's backing it. And I don't know, you got to do a little bit of research and put some time and effort into it. But it's really cool. It's exciting. There's amazing, brilliant people that are involved in this stuff that they're creating.
And that's, Mike, where we really got to connect was because she was killing it in crypto. And she was talking about, wanting to get in real estate. And I'm killing it in real estate. I mean, here, hold on just a minute. Let me get that right there. But I was looking at how to blockchain, how to tie that up and how to get into that digital space. And we really kind of had this Vulcan mind meld moment in Belize around a swimming pool. And we really started figuring it out as to how we can really take the technology that's there, because blockchain is a tool, it's a utility, and it is powerful. When you realize that you can convey title without title insurance, right? You've got it title insured once and you just continue to keep that chain going. When you can convey, you can send money around the world. You've got NFTs on car titles. You've got all these different projects happening. And Courtney and I were sitting there going, wow, what if we could do this with apartments? What if we can make it that you, as someone that lived in an apartment complex, could not only own part of the apartment complex, but could invest in it, get dividends from it, right? Invest in capital projects on it, all the different things that could happen. And we just really began to run down this road like two unattended minors. And next thing we know, we built this platform. And in that,
Wow.
but the reality is when you think about it, Mike, I want to break this down for you because I know you know a thing or two about real estate, right? Don't kid nobody. We know, right? But the whole thing is with real estate, it started out as a township, then a section and a range, or is it the other way? Anyway, you start out with these
something like
pieces
that.
and you kept breaking it down, right? Well, what happened in the 1800s when the courthouse burned down and everybody's title was there at the courthouse? Now all of a sudden, nobody knew who owned what. And in India, 70% of the lawsuits in India are about title. And so India is adopting blockchain technology to record title now.
Wow.
India, right? I mean, I guess that maybe there was too many Mohammeds. I don't know, but it's been a problem. And they're solving it with technology. And so here we are looking at how do we do that? But then you want to talk about conveying ownership, right? I mean, Mike, if I wanted to sell you 1/5 of a home right now, I would kind of be a weird deal. We could maybe create a partnership. We got to get some attorneys involved. We got to go down that road. Then I got to talk to the other 4/5 and they got to figure out what's going on. With tokenization, you're fractionalizing the house, you're fractionalizing that equity. And now you're able to convey that to 100 people, right? And they're all able to have a digital piece of title.
So Shannon, I'm curious. So I'm sitting here thinking like what you're talking about so far, like I felt like I was pretty educated on NFTs and crypto. And I'm just sitting here like, wait a minute, car titles? Like, okay, so the fractionalized ownership
Tell
them about Carnomaly.
Well, so there's a group here in the DFW area that is awesome. Their company is called Carnomaly, and they have actually partnered with the National Motor Vehicle Title Administration, and all cars' VINs will be NFTs. So they partnered with them. They are launching a really amazing program. You'll be able to buy your cars, fund it through DeFi, which is decentralized finance, without even having to go through traditional finance systems, and you'll be able to earn rewards for getting your oil changed and keeping up with the maintenance of your car. And all of this information and the title history, mileage, everything will be stored on blockchain, which is incredible.
Wow,
You'll never have to worry about, how many accidents has this car been in, who's owned it. It will all be there, and it'll be accessible 24 hours a day. I'm so sorry about these notifications.
So it's kind of like Carfax and all those guys got together with your local bank and on the corner and sold some of that off to Jimmy and Billy and Bobby and Susan. And now all of a sudden you've got a pool of cars that's being, and it's just the technology, right? It's really nothing different. It's just now the technology allows for you, Mike, to get involved in the lending program. But where else were you going to become a lender? So you're stuck with a bank account that's giving you 0.01%, or you can go into this DeFi pool and be at 8, get 8% on your money, right?
Well, I love what she was saying about what Courtney was saying about the when the internet was coming out, right? And like, people were saying like, that's you got a website? Oh, you're one of those, like, no, I'm good with just my calling and the yellow pages. Like, I actually remember one of my first businesses meeting with the Yellow Pages representative at a Denny's.
Yeah.
Like, that's what was the main marketing. And I don't think I'm that old. I mean, maybe I am. Maybe I'm dating myself.
Well, Mike, it's funny because I remember this little company called bodybuilding.com was started in Idaho. And actually they rented their first warehouse space from my parents. And I remember my mom came home, and this is when the internet was just coming out, right? And we didn't even have a home computer, right? So I didn't even know what it was, but she came home and she said, hey, this guy is selling protein powder on the internet. And I thought, what does it do? Come out of your hard drive? I mean, how do you get the protein powder out of your computer? I didn't even wrap my head around the concept, right, of what the internet could do. I thought maybe they were trying to send you, flex protein powder through the wires. And it just, and now, that's become how 90% of the world shops.
Well, and that's exactly right. I remember picking up the AOL discs, they would give them away free, next to the registers where you would go and check out, and you'd have to bring it home and you'd have to dial up and, you'd be trying to make a phone call. And if somebody was on the internet, you can't make a phone. So then you needed two lines at your house. But you know what? The cool thing about that is when people started transacting on the internet, they said, hey, we're going to create this marketplace. And people are like, no, I'm not putting my credit card on the internet, and I will not leave my house to shop if I don't have to. I mean, that's where we are in such a short time period. And right now we have that hesitation because people are like, blockchain, what? Eventually this will be the norm. We won't even refer to it as blockchain. It will be normal. So
well, the other thing too, Mike, as I know, because I know you know a lot about crypto, is that, we live in a world of nodes in the crypto world, right? That decentralization means that we're using everybody's computer as a place to store our ledger, right?
Verify it.
Web 3.0, right? So speaking of internet, the first internet was where you went and looked at things, right? And you heard that, right, while it was loading up, right? And then you looked at it and you waited for the screen to kind of, come down, and that was Web 1.0, right?
Yeah.
And Web 2.0 was what we have now, where you can interact with it. It goes both ways. You can order things, you can input things. But Web 3.0 is what's coming out, and that is where it's not owned by a company. It's owned by all of us. And so my computer will become a node. The guy down the hall, his computer will become a node. My home computer will be a node. So it takes and decentralizes the computing power that we're all needing and looking for. And if you think about it, this also started happening in Japan when they first came out with cell phones, because they said, hey, buy the phone. It's $1,000. The internet part's free. And then they began using your phone as the booster. So you became the first wireless router, right? And wherever you went, they now had a signal that went out there. And the more people were in that area, the stronger the signal was. That's what's happening with Web 3.0. And it's essentially the exact same thing that's happening with the blockchain and the decentralization of large companies being able to own us, right? And that's the exciting thing when you think about bringing that digital securities into apartment buildings. I mean, only the rich can own 200-unit apartment buildings, right? Only Wall Street REITs can own thousands of doors, but now everybody can be a part of that because they can invest in the equity side, they can invest in the other side, they can be a part of that pool and understand how that comes about.
I think that's one of the most exciting, one of the things I'm the most excited about is taking away that ability to, if you're only accredited, you're only this, you're only that, taking that ability and giving it back to everybody and letting everybody have the determination of what they want to do with their money, where they want to invest it, instead of having people tell them what they can and can't do. So I'm the most excited about that.
Yeah. Yeah, that's actually, there's a guy that I follow that he did a non-accredited fund, and I guess because of the regulation, he had to spend, I think it was like 3 or 4 times the amount in order to set up a non-accredited investor fund. So it actually makes it more difficult. It kind of makes sense too, because they want to make sure you're not taking advantage of people who only have a few thousand to invest, right?
Sure.
Yeah. So, and that's where who's the burden on, right? The Reg A plus or the CF, that burden is on the syndicator, the person that is raising the funds, to prove that they're not going to, be a Bernie Madoff. They're going to prove that they have proper liquidity and proper training and proper assets and proper documentation. Where if you're doing a Reg C or 506C, which means that you, Mike, are an accredited investor, you should know better. So it's kind of buyer beware. But then again, it's on the buyer. But, and that's kind of where the world of blockchain is going, though, because it's combining both. I mean, if you think about it, Mike, I'm going to sell you something on blockchain, and Courtney's going to know that this wallet, this whatever identity I want to give it, sold something and transferred title and moved assets to your end of the world, and she'll be able to see that, and she'll know that sale happened. That's why when people... What we don't know is happening inside of Wall Street as far as who's trading what and who owns what shares. Nobody knows all that stuff because it's not general knowledge. But you hear about the crypto whales, and the whales aren't moving and all this stuff because everybody can see what wallets have what assets in them and when they are and aren't selling. So it's a very transparent world. And of course, that would freak Jamie Dimon out, right? Of course, Warren Buffett wouldn't like that.
back that up just a second. One of the best things about transacting real estate on blockchain is the liquidity that it provides. And say somebody did invest their last $1,000 and they do need to pull that out and move it, they do need to pay a bill or something like that. Having this done on blockchain allows them to do that. They can do shorter term investments. They can do longer term. They can do shorter term. It really changes the way people are able to invest. They don't have to go, okay, I'm going to put that money in, but I can't get it out for 5 years. It solves that problem as well, along with a whole handful of others.
Yeah, I like the problem.
Yeah. I was just going to say, as you can tell, we're pretty passionate about that, right, Mike?
Yeah, well, listen, the thing I love the most, and this is just, I mean, it's a little off topic from real estate or anything, but just crypto, right? Is the idea, like I have kids that play Roblox, right? And Roblox trades on the stock exchange. Well, it's like actually like one of the best stocks I guess you can invest in right now. It's like because all the kids are playing it. But one of the games, I was doing a lot of research on NFTs, and one of the games, actually there's like a dozen of them, where you can play and receive these points on the game and then exchange those points for Ethereum or for other. What's that?
Is it Axie Infinity?
Yeah, that was one of them. Yeah. And so you can actually get crypto of some kind, right? Different types, depending on the game. And then you can actually get that as money and exchange it as cash. And my kids, they're like, 12 and I have a 10-year-old. And I was like, you guys need to do this because I want to test it out and see, if you can actually earn. And imagine you get, just a few Ethereum and then, it goes up. Who knows? Your kids could end up, bankrolling just from playing a game. It's just crazy.
Well, it's funny because I was at the Uncommon Sovereign conference in Puerto Rico a couple of weeks ago. And there was a guy that was talking about this exact thing at Axios, and I was actually pulling up my Axios account because I've staked some Ethereum on there, but they were actually talking about it takes about $500 to buy one of the little creatures that plays on the game, right? But when you look at the population of India is over $1 billion, and the thought of making $1 a day is like. That's muy rico, right? That's rich, right? And they can't come up with the $500. So people are actually renting, okay, because they'll come up with anything. They're renting the little animal that you go to play the games with, and these people are earning $2 and $3 a day. And you know what they're doing, Mike? In all of that, they're creating hash, not that kind of hash, but hashing that actually creates blocks with all their little movements. So they are creating the chain, and these guys are earning triple the average wage in India playing these games. Now, all of a sudden, gaming has become extremely profitable, and you have a population in this world that lives on less than $3 a day is almost 2 billion people waiting to be gamers, right?
Yeah, and also that's a population of people who are traditionally very technologically savvy. If you wanted to outsource anything technological, you'd go there or Russia. You wouldn't go to the Philippines traditionally. And the other, I love this whole idea too of entrepreneurship. I'm an entrepreneur at heart. That's like what I study and what I practice the most, right? And everything I feel like, and this, I don't want to get political, but everything like I think is born in entrepreneurship and innovation and creativity. And this just like screams all of that to me. And it's just really exciting.
Well, and especially when you can take something as simple as playing a game, right? It's like Ready Player One come to life, right? But I'm literally having that same conversation with my daughter saying, hey, you should go play games to make money. And then I catch myself, Mike, and I look in the mirror and I go, what has happened to you? Pac-Man is eating your brain, Yeah.
And it really, so there's a whole nother side of it. And I don't want to be negative, but when your kids are on the computers and they're on it all the time. And I sit there and I ask myself, like, when do I cut them off? And so we try to do that, get some outside time, and I'm teaching them to cook. Anytime I cook, they always cook with me. They have a cooking day. So, obviously that goes back to the personal responsibility, but these are big questions we got to ask ourselves as the world starts to change. And just like on that topic, as the world starts to change and this comes upon us, obviously we're the ones that are intrigued and we're looking into it and we're taking action. And I forget who said it, but I think it was one of the cell phone manufacturers. They were talking about who, buys the newest cell phone first. And there's this whole, it's a bell-shaped curve, right? There's a whole population of people who will get the newest cell phone. And then the largest population will wait a year or two. And then the rest of them will, it's a bell-shaped curve. And I'm just curious how this is going to impact the wealth. Obviously, we talked about India, but in the US, how's this going to impact the wealth? And is it going to distribute things a little? Because I know a lot of people are talking about that.
Yeah. Courtney, I'll let you handle that one.
It's funny. I actually really need a new phone, and I cannot bring myself to spend $1,000 on another phone because I could buy a third of an Ethereum with that. I can buy $1,000 worth of Bitcoin. And then I start looking at that and going, okay, well, that $1,000 phone, okay, Bitcoin's at this price now. Now that phone's cost me $3,000 or $5,000. And so there are things that I've wanted for so long and I can't even bring myself to go buy them. So that's kind of funny that you brought that up.
And I'm the same way, man. I'm rocking the Samsung 7 here. I was looking at it the other day, and the Galaxy 7. I was looking at it the other day, and they got the Galaxy 21. So I got 3X, man.
Oh man, yeah. I feel like I need shame now because I don't have the newest one, but I got the 12 with the 3 cameras. But I do a lot of social media, so I'll give myself a break.
Yeah, no, we definitely won't hold you to that, Mike. But it's funny because everything is revolving around that, right? Everything is coming back to that. On another side note, speaking of social media, I just saw an article today that the top 2 TikTokers, right? Two sisters, one's making 17 million, one's making 10 million, and they compared them to they're making more than the CEO of Delta. They're making more than there was a painting company, but all these high level CEOs. And here's these 2 19 and 20-year-old girls talking about what they did last night at the club or what. I don't know what you do on TikTok. I mean, I just let my kids tell me what's going on there. I don't know.
It became a big thing. So I tried to get into it and all I saw them doing was silly dances. And I was like, I'm not doing that.
I don't even have TikTok. I can navigate through decentralized platforms and all kinds of things, and I can't figure out how to use Instagram. So, there's that.
I think Instagram's fun.
Media.
So when you're looking at all this stuff and how it's coming about, I mean, the reality is we're in a place, and Mike, I think you can see it too in where we're at, not getting political, but as humans, right? We're tired of big government. We're tired of being controlled by big corporations, right? I mean, I just saw that Facebook is up for a monopoly lawsuit. They're getting sued because they're too big. And we're tired of all these things and Google knowing all your information. So now we're going to give all of our information to everybody, right? We're going to go on the DeFi side. And I think really people are starting to think differently about who they do business with. Right? I don't want to do business with a big corporation. I want to do business with the little guy, the guy down the street, the guy that just opened his restaurant, the guy that just, is trying to do something in his own neighborhood. And that's really what the power of blockchain does with the technology itself, as far as where you can go and who you can interact with, because now I can send money all the way to India or Japan or wherever else in a matter of seconds for a fraction of the price. Versus what we would do normally, and none of it's regulated. Nobody knows where I sent my money to, right?
Well, it's funny that you brought up that privacy, because that's another big aspect that blockchain is working on, is people owning their own data and their own information, as they should. Right now, God, you can talk about something and the next thing you know, the ads for whatever you were talking about are popping up on, Facebook ads and everything else. So it's kind of, we brought up basic attention token before, but there's a lot of other platforms out there that are working on you owning your data and your information. Like if you're scrolling through with the basic attention token site, if you choose to watch an ad, they will reward you with that token for your time. And so a lot of these different sites and blockchains that are solving some of these other issues that we're having, along with, decentralized social media and everything else, will solve a lot of these privacy and data issues. You should own your data, and you should be the one making the money off of your data, not Google, not Facebook. And that will come along as well. And you can choose to make money off of the information that you share and the ads that you're looking at and everything else.
Man, this is so good. Like, I feel like, somebody who's watching is just like, a lot of my audience on the channel, and we'll share this with your guys' channels too. You guys, if you're watching, no matter where you're watching, comment below, because Mighty Roundtable is all about, hearing what you guys have to say. We bring on experts. We talk about things that you want to hear about. And so I'm loving this conversation. One thing that popped in my head was like, it's going to get to a point where, like, for example, Walmart, I go there once a year. Okay. So don't beat me up, but
you're the black
I love you,
right?
Yeah. Hey, there you go. No, it's right down the street. So like, I use the Apple Pay. You just click this twice and boom, and pay everywhere I go. Walmart actually doesn't have it because they have a Walmart Pay. Right. And so a lot of these places now, especially this in this world of blockchain, everything, you can't put a credit card on file at these games, these NFT games. You have to have a wallet. You have to. You can't go to Decentraland and be like, let me put in my Visa. You have to have Ethereum or one of these things. And so it's a world that's going to be forced upon a lot of folks if they want to stay involved, if they want to stay relevant, especially in business. And I think that's where things will start to transition, is when business owners, because think about all the business owners after the internet came out, they were like, nah, I don't need social media. They just were like, I don't need social media. Now it's like almost a requirement if you are a B2C business that you have to have social media.
Well, the funny thing too, Mike, right now you can put money on crypto.com, right? You can put money on that platform and it's connected to a debit card. So you've got it in Bitcoin, right? You got it in Ethereum, and you go to Walmart and you swipe that card, it will make the exchange at that point. Now take that one step further. Let's say that you have a home equity line of credit currently, but you bring that over to the tokenizing platform and we digitize that and we create a revolving home equity line of credit where you've been decentralized financed by me and 9,000 of my friends looking for 4% interest. And every time you go to the store and you see something you want, you take a little slice of your equity and you trade it to us, and you were able to buy that big screen TV. You want to buy a new car, you can tokenize the car. And then especially in this market, when the car prices are actually going up, you've got equity there that you can get to and use and go to Walmart and spend, because it's a token. We're exchanging a percentage of the value to you, and we're able to fractionalize that down to pennies, dollars, however small you want to make it, so that now your whole life and all the equity that is in your life is available at any given time. So in one drunken stupor in Vegas, you can totally wipe yourself out.
Or in Puerto Rico, sounds like.
All in black. You thought I was going somewhere productive with that, right, Mike? But that's where we're going, right? So now you have access to that. But what it also does, Mike, is it puts people in a place where if you had $25,000 and you put that on crypto.com right now in UST, which is just a tether coin, you could get 10% interest on that.
You can get up to 14.
Well, but let's not talk about your dollar amount here. We already know you 10x your account. So, but with the $25,000, right, you're putting that in your retirement account because you don't want to pay taxes on it. But if you had USD, or UST, which are tied to US dollars, they're the same. They're always the same. And you're not risking them. You're just staking them, right? You now have the ability to earn 10% on your money. Well, you got equity sitting in your house that equity is still growing, because you're not going to sell your house. But what if you could tokenize that and then put that on crypto and make another 10%? So now your house is growing at 15% a year, and the equity is now growing at 20 or 10% a year. That's like compounding interest, man.
So I literally just pulled out, hold on, let me just throw this out there. I took a loan out on my house, and I got it at 3% here, I don't know, 5 months ago or so. Took that, converted it to USDC, which is pegged to the dollar, to the US dollar coin, and I'm staking it for 14% on crypto.com, which is paying the note. It's paying my insurance and it's paying my taxes, and I'm actually making more than what I'm even paying out. So I'm actually making money off of my house right now. It's beautiful.
And you're living in it.
And I'm living in
And
it.
it's still appreciating, right? She didn't have to sell it.
Nope.
You know, Mike, how many times do you hear
Yeah.
people in your line of work that say, I have to sell this house because I want to step up into the next house and I can't quite get there with this and with that. But if they could fractionalize part of that house, fractionalize that equity through digital securities and tokenized real estate. I mean, this is something you're hearing all over the place, right? That you're able to see where people can do that. And now you're able to step into that next house and keep this first one rental. And then you're able to build a portfolio. You're able to build something that's massive, right? Something that will take care of you in retirement.
I love this. I love this. So one thing I want to just make clear to people who are watching, you know, you have a house, you have what we're talking about with the equity, you know, let's say it's worth 200, just to keep it simple, and you only owe 100. That's $100,000 in equity. And right now you could refinance and get roughly probably like 60 grand out, maybe 50 grand out in equity safely, and go invest in another house. If your credit's good, if, you know, all these other ifs to get your money out of your house, and you're going to have to go through many other people who are going to run your credit. Like, we definitely have like a system in place for whether it's buying a house or buying anything that makes it difficult and like stepping blocks, right? Or roadblocks. But what we're talking about here is like decentralizing things where you now have more power, and like even like a 12-year-old child will be able to I feel like in 10 years, a 12-year-old child will be able to say, like, he'll be 12 and he'll be like, I'm just going to go ahead and put my money on the blockchain so I don't have to worry about that guy telling me no, you know?
Well,
It's
and
crazy.
that's so exciting about this is it streamlines and makes it so much easier. I mean, it took us 5 weeks to pull this money out in a traditional, you know, refi system. You know, we had to provide all these documents and tax returns, and it's a total pain in the ass. Anyway, the other day I took out a loan against some of the Bitcoin I have. I did it one afternoon. I had the money the next morning, and I can take it, invest it in whatever I want. And through this real estate tokenization, you can do the exact same thing because you're using your tokens or your real asset, whether it's a car or a house or a building that you own, and you can go in, you put that asset up for collateral, take the money out. It takes 2 seconds to do it. They don't care what your credit's like because you've just put that asset up for collateral. If you don't pay it back, they'll take your asset. It's fine. Doesn't matter. And it takes less than 24 hours, and then you can go and move on, and you can invest that into something else. It's amazing. And it should be that easy.
Well, and combine that, Mike, with the fact that if you're tokenizing the real estate, I mean, if you're going to go in and get a refinance on your house, I mean, that $200,000 scenario, you're talking $8,000 in fees. DeFi doesn't have those fees, right? DeFi doesn't do that. So you're able to go in and go, hey, man, I need to have an emergency surgery, right? I got a $5,000 deductible on my insurance. I need $5,000. You're able to do that and not pay $8,000 to get $5,000, make it feel like a title loan, right? And you're able to continue to do that. Pretty cool stuff.
It is so cool. And I got chills when you were talking about that. The fact that the $8,000 in fees, I mean, I already feel like as a realtor, sometimes I get overpaid. You know, I filled out a document. I talked to someone 3 times and got, you know, $15,000 or $20,000, sometimes, you know, as low as $5,000. Right. And these mortgage officers, they're writing policies and they're doing it and they're getting, $5,000, $6,000, $7,000, $8,000.
Think about this too, Mike. In part of that fee is a title insurance, right? I just put a construction loan on a piece of land I've owned for 3 years. I just paid $34,000 in title insurance to ensure that I had not enclouded the title and I was not going to sue right? So I had to sign that was free and clear title and that I would be liable. Then I had to pay $33,000 and I had to sign that I accept the condition that this policy covered anybody other than the previous owner from suing, right? So I had to pay this fee, and that's the whole point with DeFi is you're going, we understand it's on chain. Everybody knows what debts are against it. Everybody knows who's got a piece of it. Everybody knows where the slices are at. And so we don't have to hide things. We don't have to insure it against title fraud because it's transparent. Everybody can and see what's happened.
Yep. And now you've eliminated that need to pay for title insurance over and over and over. Once it's there and it's on chain and the information's there, there's no need to redo it. It's just pulling that information up, taking a look. Have there been any changes? Nope. Okay, go.
So think about this, Mike. When you see people saying they don't like crypto or they're against it or it's bad, look at what those people have to lose if things like this are adopted and the $8,000 fees aren't in play and title insurance isn't there. And instead of putting your money in a bank where they're using it to loan out to other people, you're actually putting it into another platform that's paying you 10 times what they're paying you. Think about who's saying it's not a good idea. They're not there for the public's protection. All the consumer protection laws we have are to protect us from the banks that already exist.
Yeah.
Well,
Not from the ones that aren't there.
The bank insurance and everything else. That's all such a bunch of crap regardless. And really at the end of the day, you know, we've got a couple of things we can hit on there. You know, I still get the whole, illegal things are done with Bitcoin. And it's kind of like, I'm like, well, hang on a second. Let's stop and take a look at how many drugs and money laundering and how many illegal things have been done with the US dollar, with our banking system and our government and everything else. So that to me is just a completely illegitimate argument regardless. But when you start talking about tokenizing real estate and everything else, we are using the blockchain technology. It's, there's cryptocurrencies and then there's the blockchain technology. Bitcoin was the first crypto. It was the first blockchain, but it's built on the blockchain. So we're using the blockchain technology. We're not using Bitcoin to do these things. We're using the technology, and the technology is amazing. It's going to change our entire world, but it's different than buying Bitcoin or buying Ethereum or buying Cardano. We're just utilizing that technology. So we've got a little bit of a barrier of knowledge that we've got to break down and get people to understand. But once they do, I mean, people's medical records will be on blockchain. Everything will be stored on blockchain because it's there. It's accessible. It's accessible if you want people to be able to access it. It solves so many issues, and it saves a ton of money and time.
Well, I was going to ask you about that actually. So when it comes to, people, we were talking a little bit about the bell-shaped curve, about like who starts to do certain things. Do you think, kind of like for electric cars, for example, like oil and gas is essentially what is going to keep everyone from going to, and whether you're for it or against it, whatever. I'm just saying, there's a reason why not everyone is driving a Tesla, right? I mean, it's a genius idea. You plug it in, you pay your power bill. Your power bill goes up just a little bit, I guess. And you get to drive pretty much anywhere you want to go. They'll go like 400 miles. So when it comes to this kind of stuff, it's like, is it needed, right? Just like Entrepreneur 101, is it needed? Is there already a group of people who are going to utilize it? Now, looking at the future and my children in particular and how involved they are with all this online gaming and stuff like that, I have no doubt it's going to be huge. But do you think that that's going to be an issue as it starts to develop?
Well, when they brought the internet out first, did we need the internet? No, but it sure made things a hell of a lot more convenient than what they are. And that's the same thing for blockchain. Do we need it? Do we have to have it? Can we live without it? Sure. But I think when people finally figure out, when they figured out that, oh my gosh, I can buy this on Amazon Prime and it'll be in my doorstep in an hour, the convenience of that and not having to go to the store, and you can work on other things. When you start utilizing blockchain and all of the things that it can do and all of the ways it's going to make our life easier and make everything so much more convenient and cheaper, and it's saving you money, absolutely we're going to move to that. When I can go overseas and I can just take my blockchain Bitcoin wallet with me, and I don't have to worry about claiming $20,000 at the gate or anywhere else, and I have access to that money because they're working on those payment systems now as we speak. That's going to happen. That's coming. When I can do all of that at the ease, no matter where I am, because eventually we're going to have internet that's supplied all over this earth. It's being worked on by Amazon. It's being worked on by Starlink and Elon Musk. It's being worked on by the Helium blockchain. I mean, it's being worked on and solved by everybody. So when you have the ability to transact and do what you need to do, regardless of where you are on this earth, and as long as you've got your phone or access to the internet, you can do that. And that's just buying things and paying for things. I mean, this solves so many more things, like title history and the ability for people to transact and invest and access their medical records and everything else. It's incredible. Access their music. You can do everything on it. And it's convenience and it's fast and it will save you money and it will make you money. Who doesn't want that?
It's fascinating. I love it. I love the topic.
Think about it real quick, Mike. Last time you lost your wallet, right?
It's been a while.
Yeah. Well, see, I had to put my wallet into my phone because I never lose my phone, but I always lost my wallet. But think about the last time you lost your wallet. If all you need to know is your 12 words to recover your crypto wallet, right? Your blockchain wallet, and all your information is there, all your contacts, all your money, all your access to lending, all that stuff is all right there. Medical records, they're using it with medical records. So there's a lot of things that are going on, and it's super exciting about where it's going to take us. That's for sure.
I'm excited to see the equity in the houses. Like that is because that's all I do when I call and I try to find investment deals for people, whether it's multifamily or whatever. I'm looking and say, well, what's the mortgage payoff? That's like the final question, as I go through, and they say, well, it's it's 90 grand and it's worth 500. It's like, ching, we got a potential deal here. And then they're willing to take an offer for, let's say 300 when it's worth 500. That's that equity and the opportunity when you understand that and what you can do. So as a realtor, though, I'm excited because if somebody comes to me and they're in that situation where the bank's going to take the property, they can't go get it because of the credit, because of the payments and all this stuff. But the idea that they could get that 20 grand out in equity potentially with something like this, they could save themselves without having to take a huge haircut on a home sale.
Absolutely. It gives everybody back control over their finances. And now, you can leverage so much more. Now they've got, it's kind of like having, I guess, like a secured credit card. You're putting your money in, you can get that credit card. It's the same thing. I deposit my Bitcoin, I take a loan out and I put it into something else. Now you can do it with your home. You can do it with your car. You can do it with anything that is of value like that, anything that is an asset that you can tokenize. And now you can go get that money. You don't have to worry about credit checks and the $8 bazillion worth of fees that you're going to have in doing that. And there's no prepayment penalties for it either, which is also beautiful. So it's fantastic. It really is.
Maybe we should comment, Shannon, on the fees, right? Because I was looking at NFTs about like tokenizing things, NFTs, and the opportunities that are there. And the people are doing these launches with the NFTs and they're getting rich. I mean, these are guys that are like teenagers, kind of like the crypto guys when they first started. Do you know anything about the fees, the transfer fees to tokenize things?
Are you talking about like
there's the gas fees when you buy an NFT? Like if an NFT is $500, so I got a gas fee that's going with that, and that depends on the amount of traffic going around. Depends on a couple of things, but you're basically paying a title transfer fee, but it's far less than what you would pay if you were wiring $500 between Florida. But then again, what if you're buying the tea from somebody that's in Bull? That international wire is going to be $100 for a $500 wire, and they're going to pay on their end as well, and then it's going to take 3 or 4 days. Whereas if you're buying an NFT, you're going to pay a small transfer fee, but it's going to be instant, right? It's going to be instant.
Yeah. I'm just looking at it thinking like, how can I create, NFT specific? Like, for example, like for real estate, I would love to do like, cause this is art, right? For those of you guys who are watching and don't know, like NFTs are essentially art, but you could do it in a lot of different things. What I'm finding out, like you could do videos and all this different stuff. But for the art, like creating a bunch of characters that, people can relate to. For example, in real estate, it's like the father at an inspection, the father of the buyer, at an inspection, the money hungry realtor, and get like a hat, and it just, people buy them. And once they buy them, they can never, there's not another one that they get that one. And people are buying these ugly NFTs. I forget what they're called. Like, there's a whole group of them, but they're buying for like 57 million and these crazy amounts. And I'm just like,
Yacht Club, and there's all kinds of huge groups, and they get like a following. Like it's like these people that are in with these different groups. I mean, like they're serious about that. But the cool thing, when I first heard about NFTs, I was like, NFTs, digital art, like who in the hell is paying $20 million for a piece of digital art? Like, what is happening? But it's actually, it's as it has come along, now they have casters and you can display your art. They have these digital frames. You can do it on televisions, computers, and you can actually create an entire experience, and you can tie music to it. You can have it just display that one thing. You can roll through different art. And now that they're doing, it's kind of like on Fortnite, you buy all these skins. I mean, I'm pretty sure we probably could have paid for one of my kids' college with the amount of money we've spent on skins and all the crap.
Yeah, but they looked cool killing people on an island, and you got to look cool when you're killing people on an island.
It was their favorite skin that they had to have for that day.
You look ugly, do it.
Well, the great thing about NFTs, but you buy these skins, but you don't really own them because you can't take them out of the game. So now they're creating all of this, these clothes and guns and all these items that you buy that are NFTs, and you'll actually be able to use them in different places. But, the NFTs, people are actually tokenizing real estate as NFTs. We've got carve-ins coming out as NFTs. There's so much more that's happening in that NFT space as it evolves and things go on. And, it'll be really beautiful when you can start minting on other blockchains besides Ethereum, because those gas fees are awful. I was trying to buy it the other day, and I had to wake up and do it at 1:00 in the morning, because for Americans, it's a lot cheaper. The gas fees are always much cheaper in the middle of the night. And I was only buying like $1,000 or something, but during the day, it was like $300 gas fee.
Yeah.
So it'll be nice when 2.0 finally gets done and these gas fees go down, and hopefully it fixes that. But now that they're rolling out all of these different cryptos, and they can go across chain and grow across different platforms and across different blockchains, that will solve a lot of issues as well.
So I have a question, Courtney. What do you think to that person? Just because, I feel like you guys know so much about this. Like, I feel like I have to be the other side. You know what I mean? Like, so Courtney, what do you say to that person that's thinking like, okay, this crypto stuff it's actually what was it? Bill Gates actually said, like, I think it was Bill Gates. Correct me if I'm wrong, or you guys can comment below if I'm wrong. But I think it was Bill Gates. It was just like, this is not going to last. It's a fly by night. You're throwing your money away if you invest in Bitcoin.
They all say that. They all start out in that place. And it's funny. And I actually, there's something I read a long time ago that said you need to be able to make that argument from both sides. If you really are truly knowledgeable and believe in what you do, you've got to make that argument. And when I first got involved in crypto, I didn't know that it would be something. It was one of those things, Bitcoin had dipped down a couple of years ago to like $3,800. And I was like, yeah, I'm going to go ahead and scoop some of that up. That seems like a good investment. The stock market crashed and Bitcoin crashed. And I thought, yeah, I'm going to get into that. And then, and I guess it really depends on, are you looking at it as a store of value? Are you looking at it as a payment system? Or, how are you looking at it? But the thing is as mass adoption comes and more institutions are adopting it, and once again that convenience and everything comes out and it's changing, I buy gold. I buy gold, I buy silver, I buy real estate, I buy all of the assets. I think it's really important to be diversified amongst a lot of different assets. But the convenience of crypto and what it's doing, and the privacy and the convenience of it, I think is what really is going to change. And what is really going to propel it and launch it forward is when you don't have to worry about losing the keys to your wallet, and you don't have to, there's still some barriers that we're fighting. It needs to be a little bit easier. Some of it is still a little bit complicated. Some of it's a little bit of a pain, but we're really going to have mass true adoption when my grandmother can hop on her phone and buy Bitcoin and transact in it, and she doesn't need me to guide her through to make sure that she's safe and doing it safely. So the great thing is that we are so early. But, as these banks, Visa is rolling out, into integrating, crypto payments through Visa, Walmart. I mean, even, I didn't realize this till probably a year ago. When you are going onto a website and it says, we want to make sure you're a person, click on all the crosswalks or that's blockchain. A lot of people don't realize that there's a lot of things that are already associated with blockchain that are incorporated in our lives that we don't even realize. And so it's here to stay. As far as the way we use it, it needs to be a little bit easier. But once that happens, and people are working on that, brilliant people are working on that. Once that's here and that's convenient and it's easy, it's going to launch. And I'm really going to be super thankful that I got in it as early as I did. As excited as I am just 2 years later, I mean, gosh, 5 years and 10 years from now, it's going to be ridiculous. So, and I bribe my kids to buy Bitcoin. I'm like, you lost a tooth. That's great. That's $5. But if you let me give it to you in Bitcoin, I'll give you 20. And they're like, okay, I'll take Bitcoin.
That's so funny. My girlfriend's mom gave her, she gives the worst gifts, right? She gave her like this kid's microphone one year, super gold. It was all gold with like she's not a kid. Like my girlfriend's like in her 30s. And if you're watching this, Maribel, I love you. But anyway, she gave her $40 in crypto. $40 in crypto and some new crypto that was like a penny stock, basically. And she's like, oh, it's going up. It's going up. It's going to go, even if it goes to 50 cents, we'll all be rich, And so and she's just like, what am I going to do with this? She asked me because she didn't even know what crypto was. And so we had that conversation, and it's just crazy. But the other thing too is the Oculus. My kids, all of them wanted Oculus. We went to WonderWorks in Orlando, and they got basically an Oculus you put on your head, and you play these games. You get these handheld things, and you play this game.
Yeah.
Every single kid will own those in the next couple of years, if
That's
not 5 years.
One, man, you're going to rent the things to go and put on the Oculus to go earn the coins, right? I mean, that's what it all is, man.
Yeah.
There is. I have such mixed feelings about that too. I do think it's going to come to this Ready Player One, metaverse virtual reality deal. And it's kind of one of those, it could be really cool, but I feel like that could also be not so cool also. So, I feel like that's kind of a catch-22, but it's coming. It's coming. There's you can't stop it. You just gotta have to get on board the train. You know what? If you don't want to, I cannot wait to have the conversations with the Bill Gateses and the Peter Schiffs and everybody, 5 and 10 years from now. So
they'll be the top investors.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. So, but it's funny because you have a lot of these guys. What's the guy that's on Shark Tank? He catches so much. Kevin O'Leary, he was totally against Bitcoin, and now he's come out and he's like, okay, yeah, I'm a Bitcoin, I'm buying Bitcoin. Yep. He gets hammered in every interview that he does. They're like, oh, you said you hated it, was never, and he was like, look, I changed my mind. I'm sorry, I was wrong.
Yeah, I love that guy. He actually said in an interview recently, he said, back in the day, just like a couple years ago, he said, somebody was interviewing him. He's like, who do you hire? Like, what's the most important talent that you hire? And he goes, well, I used to say engineers. He goes, but now I find it crazy in the world that we're in today. I used to pay, someone who was an artist, a creative, a social person. I used to pay them pennies because I can hire anyone to do that. I can hire my teenager to do that. Right. He goes, but now that little difference that an engineer would make to make a project 10 times better, like an Elon Musk, right? He goes, just as valuable as that is being able to sell that product and sell it in a way that is creative that people will relate to. And the world is just changing. It is completely changing.
Totally. And that's the reality of the world we live in, right? We live in this world right here, right? We live right here. And so having the things, I was talking with a friend of mine who had an argument with his nephew about the metaverse, right? And the nephew couldn't figure out the reality that was not intersecting. That's cool. You want to live in the metaverse and go to Snoop Dogg Stadium and get your jam on. That's fine. But where's the hamburgers at? Right? And the kid couldn't figure it out that there's no hamburgers in metaverse land, right? There's no, you can have a digital cow and you can make a digital hamburger, but that will not feed your human form, right? But we're getting so far down that road that at what point does it cease to be that?
It has, and let me tell you how. Okay, it already has. Have you heard of Mr. Beast?
What? Mr.
Beast is one of these guys that plays he's got a YouTube channel. He's one of the top YouTubers, I guess, but on the kids YouTube. And he's an adult, Mr. Beast. And what he did was he created a Mr. Beast burger. He has no restaurants. He has a commercial kitchen that will deliver a Mr. Beast burger via DoorDash to you. And I found out about this because my son got DoorDash. It was in the Army. He's like, "No, it's a Mr. Beast burger." I'm like, "What is that?" And he's like, "Mr. Beast. You don't know Mr. Beast?" And sure enough, he pulled him up, and it's this guy who plays Roblox on YouTube and he's got like 54 million followers or something crazy. And the guy is just killing it with these virtual delivery burgers. You just order it on DoorDash. Comes to your house.
I'm looking at it right now. I can get a Mr. Beast burger right here.
Go get one, man.
Dude,
They're
that's
good.
crazy. That's
How much is
crazy. Man.
Put your Oculus on and eat your
That's right.
burgers.
That's right, man. I could eat it. I could eat the fat-free version with my Oculus on.
Exactly. So
crazy.
yeah, there's your burger at Snoop Dogg Stadium.
Yeah, no kidding. So
That's crazy.
But man, it's just crazy where the world's going and how quickly it's changing, and the fact that we're getting it there so quickly, and the fact that the other thing is that's really, really cool about what's going on in the blockchain space is people are building on people's build, right? It's kind of like Legos for adults, but everybody's going, oh wow, I'm looking at your protocol, I'm looking at Avalanche, and we're building smart contracts in Avalanche, and we're over here in Cardano doing these things, and Ethereum's now got 4 or 5 different versions. You got wrapped Ethereum, you got all this stuff because everybody's sharing the technology, kind of like Linux was designed to do, right? Where it's open source and everybody's building it out so fast that it's amazing how quickly it's moving because there's not the barrier of corporate ownership of the technology. It's all open tech, right? It's amazing.
Yeah, and then the people that are involved in that can vote on that and go, hey, yeah, we do want to try this out. And that's what's so amazing about Bitcoin is it's adaptable and it's able to adapt and bring in the good and leave out the bad, and you're right. You're exactly right. You don't have these corporations making those choices. The people are doing it. The people are verifying it. They're doing it, and they're doing it and making it work the way they want it to. Without
the world is becoming a very small place very quickly. And what I think is going to happen is it's going to then shift and become a very large place. Because think about all the things you could create, the worlds you can create online are endless. And, as like you said, the internet gets spread all over the world. I mean, just right now, I have a couple dozen virtual assistants that just do cold calling, and I get, they just book all my appointments. And then, and so think about, like you were saying, once the world is like that, if they understand English better than the girls from the Philippines, I'm hiring them and they can learn the scripts. You see what I'm saying? So if they can learn technology, they can learn how to build NFTs, they can learn how to do anything on a computer, they can change their lives and benefit the lives of their families. It's crazy. I think it's good. Change is good. It's okay, people. Comment below, negative or positive. We want to hear what you think. So good stuff, Shannon. Anything else you want to cover? Or Courtney, anything else you guys want to mention?
Dude, I think we've been all over the map. But I think for our first round, I think we went around and around the table, don't you?
Yeah, absolutely. Courtney, there's got to be something else. Listen, you guys are holding back on this trip. All right, I want you're holding back. I gotta know. Next time you guys get together, I want a little bit of a little Google invite. All right.
Okay.
We can do it. We can do it.
We're definitely completely submersed, just between the DAOs and the DeFi and the mining and tokenization and just so much. It's really exciting stuff. So like I said, I can't wait to see where we are here in a year and 5 years. It's really cool.
It is so cool. I'm excited. I've enjoyed hanging out with you guys here. We don't have a sponsor for the show. We are just doing this for fun. So if you guys definitely reach out to each of us individually. Let's just actually go around, the channel here, mightymikereed.com. Courtney, how can people reach out with you?
You know what? I'm on LinkedIn. So LinkedIn is the best. I'm on Facebook. My empireinvestor.com is my website. So those are the easiest ways, but LinkedIn's probably the best. Okay.
All right, good.
And I'm just at shannonrobnet.com. I didn't quite qualify for the mighty Shannon Robnet or the super Shannon Robnet, right? And the
super Shannon Robnet
was already taken, so I just went with Shannon Robnet, man.
Dude,
I got to keep it simple.
Shannon sounds good.
My website, then I got to go home, right? I can't remember. I got to go home.
Good stuff, guys. Well, it's been fun hanging out with you. And guys, definitely subscribe to the channel here. We're going to share it all over the web. If you're on LinkedIn, comment any friends that are in NFTs or in crypto. We'd love to know what they think. This is definitely, the people who know about it, you almost know who they are because they're so active and engaged and excited. Like the two of you guys sold me on this crypto stuff. I'm going head first into this whole equity with tokenizing real estate. I just absolutely love it. And I look forward to being an evangelist of it moving forward.
That sounds great, man. Just make sure you don't have your Oculus on because you'll go right into the TV.
I love those videos.
Safe.
I know, man. Makes me feel smarter all the time.
All right, you guys, take care, be safe, and take some mighty action. Go buy yourself an NFT today, but do it at 1 o'clock in the morning so you can avoid those crazy gas fees.
Awesome, man. Thank you, Mike.
All right, you guys, see ya.
Thanks.